Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the archaeological exhibition entitled Kashmir, the Glory of India. While Kashmir's issue has become center of attraction of the media and in the Indian political front, the vast majority of youth in India have failed to realize as to how invaluable has been the contribution of Kashmir to our culture in the past 5,000 years, and why should we strive to protect it for the India's glorious future. When Indian Science Monitor organized a survey among the school and college students to find out the awareness about the historical importance of Kashmir, it has been found that only 3% of the students understood the cultural and present historical importance of Kashmir. The reason for this lacuna, we believe that detailed curriculum about the history of Kashmir has been not added in our school curriculum. That may be the reason. Probably we are requesting the government of India and the state government to add more about the Kashmir history in the school curriculum to generate awareness about the legacy of Kashmir among our youth and also for Indian public. I have conceptualized and produced this short visual for you. Let us not forget that Kashmir has a unique distinction of possessing an unbroken historical record from ancient time to the present day and still has an impact on the Indian soil. Kashmir may not be having oil to attract the world nations, but it has been a gateway of Central India for so many ages. In other words, Kashmir occupies a strategic position covering the border of 5 important nations like USSR, China, Afghanistan, Pakistan. Above all, Kashmir has a huge water resources from innumerable Himalayan glaciers, which is giving perennial water supply to the North India. So we have to protect these glaciers. That's why I'm telling you, it's very important. Kashmir must be preserved in the angle of water resources also. Now you can ask me whether any reference to the early man in our traditional literature like Vedas or Puranas. Yes, surprisingly yes. Vedas talks about Manu, the first man created by the god. Manu, the man, all more or less the same etymological thing. We call them Adi Purusha. And according to the Puranas, there was a very big deluge, which is known also as a great Pralaya, in which the boat of Manu got stuck near the Manasarovar Sarpan, a place near Kashmir that has been identified very recently. Thus we found that Kashmir Valley is the birthplace of early man in Asia. And what about the subsequent culture? You may ask me, the place called Bazaho in Kashmir has yielded new Stone Age culture dated to 3000 BC, that's before current era. And the meaning of Bazaho means place of birth. The biodiversity of Kashmir, I want to discuss with you, is also very interesting. It has a unique form both in flora and fauna. According to the latest research, more than 4,000 species, and most of them are medicinal and aromatic plants, which are even today used in pharmaceutical and perfume industry. And I'll give you one more detail. 16% of the Indian mammals, birds, reptiles, amphibians and butterflies are represented in the state of Jammu and Kashmir. Data show that Kashmir is very unique in biodiversity, and we have to preserve this biodiversity in the interest of the future generation. So we must be quite proud of that. Kashmir has played a very interesting role in that academic also. Ladies and gentlemen, when we talk about the biodiversity of Kashmir, let's not forget to talk about the Kashmir willow bat, cricket bat. They are the best in the world, high grade Kashmir willow bat. Once upon a time much sought after by the cricketers in England and West Indies. And in those days, some 30 years ago, in Kashmir, several people were growing willow exclusively to manufacture this cricket bat. That trade has been dwindled. Now our request to the government of India and also Jammu and Kashmir to start growing the willow. Once it is done, I think they will dominate the cricket world also. It's a very good chance for the Kashmir to come up in economy too. For that, this Kashmir willow bat is very, very indispensable. Coming to the traditional history of Kashmir, who will forget Sarada Devi, the presiding deity of Kashmir, who represented language and speech. Through her disciples, the Vedic knowledge spread all over India. Even today, the most ancient mantra known as Sharada Sostram, which is being recited today all over India, start with saying Namaste Sarada Devi Kashmiri Puravasini. That means, O Goddess of Sharada, in the shine of Sarada Pida, in Kashmir, I offer my salutation to you. Give me the gift of knowledge. That's the reason why, if you take the Indian history, cultural history of India, Kashmir represented the knowledge. That's why the most ancient university in Kashmir, known as Brij Bihira, has been identified near Kashmir. Kashmir, the crown of India. Yes, we are going to give you a lot of checklists to prove that. Several scholars of opinion that most ancient Saivite sect originated from Kashmir. It is known as a Kashmir Saivism. And Tirumular, most important Saivite scholar, mystic, seems to have come from Kashmir to South India to preach Kashmir Saivism. According to the tradition, Adi Shankara and Sri Ramanujacharya, both of them have visited Kashmir to acquire Princeton knowledge from Sarada Devi. When you talk about Adi Shankara, many of you who have visited Kashmir must have seen Adi Shankara temple. It's called Shankaracharya temple near Kashmir. Now the question is, which is the oldest temple in Kashmir and who built it? According to Sir Alexander Cunningham, who is the first Governor General of Archaeological Survey of India, and who actually excavated very important sites like Sharnath and Sanchi. According to him, Shankaracharya temple in Kashmir is the oldest temple. He mentioned in the article an essay on Aryan order of architecture as is exhibited in the temples, published in 1848. Sir Alexander Cunningham argued that Kashmir architecture constituted a distinctive style, different and superior to the prevailing in other parts of India. There is another theory as far as the date of Shankaracharya ji visited Kashmir. When Shankaracharya visited the Saiva temple in Kashmir, it located Gobadri Hill. The tradition says that having impressed by the Sakti cult in Kashmir, Shankaracharya ji recited Saundarya Lagari, a masterpiece in Tantric tradition. After a brief stay in Kashmir, Shankaracharya ji left, but the Kashmir Pandits decided to honor him and dedicated the hill and the temple in the name of Shankaracharya. That's why even today you call those temples as the Shankaracharya temple and also the hill. According to Cunningham, the date of the temple is 400 BC, but the traditional date of Shankaracharya is earlier, sometime later, we do not know. But Kashmir represents the Saiva cult, which is very powerful, which spread all over India, for which Shankaracharya played a key role. As we said earlier, like Adi Shankara, Sri Ramanujacharya had also visited Kashmir and brought home Sri Bhashya, the holy text of Sri Vaishnavas, with the blessings of Sarada Devi, the pristine deity of Kashmir. Now the question is, why Kashmir has attracted so many spiritualists and mystics and holy people? For that we have to quote Gautama Buddha. Buddha said, the land of Kasayapa, that is Kashmir, is the best place for meditation. Wonderful, no? When you visit Kashmir again, after spending a lot of time enjoying the lakes and the Kashmir scenario, at least let us spend some time for meditation. Those time will bring us very good peace of mind also. That is one of the main reasons why we should preserve Kashmir. Now we are entering into another interesting factor, the Kashmir, the crown of India, why we should preserve it. Many of you must be aware of some wild stories, maybe true also, that Jesus Christ traveled to India, especially in the Kashmir Valley. Several scholars have claimed to have found that evidences of manuscripts and place names in Kashmir and Tibet that support the belief that Jesus was very much in Kashmir. Till the day, no researchers has disproved that Jesus has not visited Kashmir. If it is true that Jesus Christ set his divine foot on the Kashmir, we are all really blessed. During 3rd century BC, that's before current era, Emperor Ashoka introduced Buddhism in Kashmir Valley, and for several centuries Kashmir was the great center for Buddhism. From Kashmir, Buddhism had spread to China, Japan and Mongolia. Many scholars traveled to Kashmir to study Buddhism. During this time, Kashmir came in contact with imperial Rome and Persian civilization by the overland route. King Solomon of Jerusalem sent an ambassador to Kashmir. This interaction has resulted in a happy blending of cultures, brought out unique school of sculptures and fine arts in Kashmir. Several researchers, Dr. N. Sarang and other people said that Kashmir must be preserved to do further research of this happy blending of sculpture and fine arts. These periods are represented by the two major archaeological sites. One is Ushka, an ancient town near Vishkapura, built by the Kushan king Vishka in 2nd century AD. Lot of terracotta artifacts excavated from Ushka with fantastically striking resemblance to late Gandhara. Another very important archaeological site is Harwan near Srinagar, where buildings and terracotta tiles were excavated. They revealed Sasanian and Central Asian motifs. Let us see some of the rare findings of these sites. During the periods of King Lalitaditya, 725 to 753 AD, and Avantivarman, 855 to 883 AD, the entire range of Kashmir cultural, artistic, philosophical, literary tradition, including architecture, sculpture, folk arts, festivals, ritual, played a prominent role in enriching the cultural life which vibrated all over India. For that, we should be very, very thankful to Kashmir. Well, let's pick up one very interesting classic example from this classic period. During this area, there is one instrument known as santur, very ancient instrument, emerged in Kashmir area. The original name of santur is Sada Tantri Veena, that is Veena with 100 strings as mentioned in Vedas. This santur became very popular in Kashmir during this classical period, and it has spread. The quality and the musical tone of santur attracted so many people. So it traveled from Kashmir to several other countries, including China, where it is known as Yanguin. In Iran and Iraq is santur. In Greece as a santuri. In America it's known as a hammer dulcimer. Even today, you can see this instrument being intelligently used by Yani and other Western scholars. The santur has played a very key role. And incidentally, I want to tell you one thing. During the time of excavation in Harwan, the archaeologists found a replica of a santur instrument in the excavation dated to 4th century AD. So I think one should do a lot of research on this instrument, and I think this instrument has played a key role to spread the knowledge of the classical Indian music. In those days, unity and diversity prevailed in Kashmir very effectively. The Hindus and Muslims lived in harmony since 13th century.
Vasudeva Kutam Bukham. It is Bhagavad Gita. The all universe is like a family. One of the verse of this Nundurishi is that Shauchi Thale Thale Buchan. It is in Kashmiri. That in other words means that God is omnipresent. He is everywhere. So don't discriminate between Hindu and the Muslim.
Kashmir is the only place in India where Muslims have surnames like Butts. According to Professor Kachu of University of Illinois, the Hindu thought and religion greatly influenced Kashmir Sufis. This resulted in different outlook of Sufism in Kashmir. Among the Sufis, the best remembered is Nandi Rishi, whose temple is located near Kashmir. Even today, both Hindus and Muslims visit the temple to offer flowers. The date of Nandi Rishi is 1377 AD. To quote Professor Ratnalal Joshi, it was from Kashmir that Indian culture, along with Sanskrit culture and Buddhism, traveled to various countries of Asia, merged with their cultures. Even today, this is visible in the cultures of Indochina, Indonesia, Philippines, Malaysia, Cambodia and Siam, and Sri Lanka. Kashmir acted as a launch medium to spread Indian culture all over Asia. It was not only a medium but also a central point from which Indian culture spread from Sri Lanka to Central Asia and from Egypt to Japan. Ladies and gentlemen, having seen all this, the glorious Kashmiri culture, definitely Kashmir is the crown of India. When you look at the map of India, Kashmir forms as a head. The question is, can we afford to lose the head? No.